Hi everyone. Today in this video, let us discuss about the important multiple choice questions from anti-hyperlipidemics. First question. Which of the following physiological changes increase the risk of atherosclerosis? P. Increase in the nitric oxide synthesis. Q. Decrease in the HDL. R. Increase in the LDL. S. Decrease in the prostacyclin. So options are A. QRS, B. P and S, C. Q and R, and D. P, Q, R and S. That means all the mechanisms. So here we have to select the mechanism which increase the risk of the atherosclerosis. If you have any idea of the answer, you can pause the video and spot the right answer. So now we will discuss the right answer and explanation for this question. So here the right answer is the QRS. The risk of the atherosclerosis is going to be associated with the increase in the LDL, decrease in the HDL, as well as decrease in the prostacyclin. Atherosclerosis is one of the vascular disorder which is associated with the increased levels of the cholesterol in the body. Particularly, this is associated with the increased LDL cholesterol, which is called as bad cholesterol. Similarly, when our HDL cholesterol is going to be reduced, again it increases the risk of atherosclerosis. So that's why HDL cholesterol is called as good cholesterol. And the risk of atherosclerosis can also be increased by decreased levels of the prostacyclins. The prostacyclin is one of the important mediator for the maintaining the endothelial function. So when the prostacyclin levels are going to be reduced, the endothelial function is somewhat modified such that the atherogenesis can be promoted. The increased nitric oxide synthesis is not associated with the risk of the atherosclerosis. Instead, the decreased nitric oxide biosynthesis may result in the endothelial dysfunction, which can increase the risk of the atherosclerosis. So, atherosclerosis is one of the vascular disorder where a atheroma is going to be found within the intima of the blood vessels. And for this formation of atheroma, the raised levels of the cholesterol in the body is one of the important factor. But this cholesterol is of two types, LDL cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. LDL cholesterol is called as bad cholesterol, which can promote the atherogenesis, and HDL cholesterol can decrease the atherogenesis. So atherosclerosis is going to be increased by increased levels of LDL and decreased levels of the HDL. Then what about the VLDL? VLDL is rich in the triglycerides compared with the cholesterol. So VLDL shows some moderate risk in the atherosclerosis. And apart from these lipoprotein levels, atherosclerosis can also be promoted by a few of the physiological changes. One of the important physiological changes is the endothelial dysfunction. The endothelial dysfunction can induce the formation of atheroma, and this is particularly promoted by decreased nitric oxide and prostaglandin I2 biosynthesis, which further increases the risk of the atherosclerosis. And these physiological changes can be observed because of few of the pathological conditions like the hypertension, diabetes, obesity, chronic alcoholism. Normally the moderate alcoholism can decrease the cholesterol levels, but a chronic alcoholism can increase the risk of the atherosclerosis. Similarly, the smoking, all these are the risk factors for the atherosclerosis, which can cause the endothelial dysfunction, thereby they promote the atherogenesis. Second one, which of the following drug is a long-acting statin? A. Simvastatin, B. Rosuvastatin, C. Pravastatin, and D. Lovastatin. All these drugs are the competitive inhibitors of the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme, thereby they inhibit the cholesterol biosynthesis in the liver. So here, which drug is long-acting? The right answer is the Rosuvastatin. Rosuvastatin along with another drug atorvastatin, these two drugs are the long-acting anti-hyperlipidemics. Third one. Which of the following anti-hyperlipidemic agent produces flushing and headache as important side effects? A. Ezetimibe, B. Fenofibrate, C. Niacin, D. Cholestyramine. So here, which type of drug produce headache and flushing? Headache and flushing are the two side effects that can be observed with the drugs that produce the vasodilatation. So here, this question is nothing but which of the following drug is a vasodilator? So the right answer is the niacin. Is a vitamin B3 which can decrease the cholesterol levels, but at the same time this niacin acts as a vasodilator. So when it is given at a high dose in order to reduce the cholesterol levels. It can produce few of the side effects like the flushing, dizziness, hypotension, and headache. All these are the vasodilatory side effects produced by the niacin. And sometimes before the administration of the niacin, aspirin can be given because this aspirin controls the flushing produced by the niacin. Fourth one, select the drugs that indicated for the treatment of atherosclerosis. P. Fluvastatin, Q. Nystatin, R. Pitavastatin, and S. Cilastatin. Options are A. PRS, B. PQRS, C. QS, and D. PR. So what is the right answer? So here you can observe that all these drugs are having the similar suffix. Which type of drugs are used in the treatment of atherosclerosis? So here the right answer is the P and R. That is the fluvastatin and pitavastatin. Even all these drugs are ending with the same suffix statin, but they are somewhat different. So fluvastatin is having a suffix vastatin. So drugs ending with the vastatin are the HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. They can be used as anti-hyperlipidemics. So again here the pitavastatin is ending with the suffix vastatin. So these are the anti-hyperlipidemics. On the other hand, the drug nystatin is a polyene antifungal antibiotic which can be used as an antifungal agent by topical route. Similarly, the cilastatin is one of the drugs which is going to inhibit the renal dehydropeptidase enzyme, and this enzyme is responsible for the metabolism of the imipenem. So this cilastatin can be given along with the imipenem in order to decrease the metabolism of the imipenem. So these two drugs, nystatin and cilastatin, even they are ending with the statin, they are not the HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. So they are not the anti-hyperlipidemic agents. Fifth one, according to the Fredrickson classification, which of the following dyslipidemia is associated with the raised levels of both LDL and VLDL? Options are A. Type 3 dyslipidemia, B. Familial type 2A dyslipidemia, C. Type 5 dyslipidemia, and D. Familial type 2B dyslipidemia. What is dyslipidemia? Dyslipidemia is the disturbance in the lipid levels, and most of the times we can observe the increased levels of lipoproteins, so they can also be called as hyperlipoproteinemia. So here which type of dyslipidemia or hyperlipoproteinemia is associated with the raised levels of both LDL as well as VLDL? So the right answer is the option D, familial type 2B dyslipidemia. This type of dyslipidemia is associated with the increased levels of LDL as well as VLDL, whereas familial type 2A dyslipidemia is associated with the increased levels of the LDL. So these two types of dyslipidemias, type 2A and 2B, are having the more risk for the atherosclerosis because they are associated with the increased levels of the LDL. So what is the Fredrickson? According to this classification, dyslipidemia can be classified into 6 types. First one is a type 1. Type 1 is not a severe dyslipidemia because it is associated with the increased levels of the chylomicrons. But more important dyslipidemia is the type 2. The type 2 dyslipidemia is associated with the increased levels of the cholesterol. This cholesterol may be present in the LDL, HDL as well as VLDL, but always LDL poses more risk for the atherosclerosis, along with the VLDL having moderate risk. So this type 2 dyslipidemia can be classified into 2 types where only LDL levels are going to be raised. So that type of dyslipidemia is called as type 2A, which is also called as familial type 2A hyperlipoproteinemia. Similarly, when both LDL as well as VLDL levels are going to be raised, then it is called as type 2B familial hyperlipoproteinemia. So here these two are having more risk for the atherosclerosis. Type 3. Type 3 is one of the dyslipidemia associated with the increased levels of the VLDL, and in the type 4 we can observe the raised levels of the beta VLDL. The beta VLDL is the one form of the VLDL which includes all the remnants of the VLDL, including the IDL, intermediate density lipoproteins. And finally, type 5 is associated with the increased levels of both VLDL as well as chylomicrons. So here we can easily remember type 2 is associated with the increased levels of cholesterol, and 3, 4, 5 are associated with the increased levels of the triglycerides. associated with the VLDL. Sixth one, identify the prodrug from the following list. A. Rosuvastatin, B. Atorvastatin, C. Pravastatin, and D. Simvastatin. So here, which type of statin is the prodrug? So the right answer is the Simvastatin. So Simvastatin is one of a lactone prodrug. And we have another drug, Lovastatin. It is also a lactone prodrug. So Lovastatin and Simvastatin are the prodrugs which requires the bioactivation. On the other hand, Rosuvastatin, Atorvastatin and Pravastatin, all these are the active drugs which are having the beta heptanoic acid moieties and they do not require any bioactivation. So this is the structure of the prodrugs. Now these prodrugs are having the lactone ring, and this lactone ring can be easily cleared during the metabolism such that the ring is going to be opened at this position and they are going to produce one of the structure like this. And here you can observe a free carboxylic acid along with the beta position, a hydroxyl group is there and it is having the 7 carbon chain. So it is a beta hydroxy heptanoic acid. So this beta hydroxy heptanoic acid is the active form of the drug. Seventh one, which of the following actions are not related with the statins as anti-hyperlipidemics? A. Improvement of the endothelial function. B. Uptake of the LDL into the liver. C. Inhibition of the cholesterol synthesis in the liver. And D. Downregulation of the LDL receptors. Statins are the important anti-hyperlipidemics and they are going to decrease the LDL cholesterol and increase the HDL levels. Thereby they decrease the risk of the atherosclerosis. But these drugs produce so many pharmacological actions which are beneficial in the treatment of atherosclerosis. So here we have to identify which action is not related with the statins. So here right answer is the downregulation of the LDL receptors. Statins are going to inhibit the cholesterol biosynthesis in the liver by inhibition of the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme, which is one of the rate limiting enzyme in the cholesterol biosynthesis. Due to the decreased synthesis of the cholesterol within the liver, now the liver can take the cholesterol from the blood. So statins results in the uptake of the LDL cholesterol into the liver through the LDL receptors. So statins will express more number of LDL receptors on the liver cells so that more LDL is going to be taken from the blood into the liver. So instead of the downregulation, statins are going to increase the expression of the LDL receptors. And statins can also increase the endothelial function and they can increase the neovascularization, that is the formation of new blood vessels. By all of these, they can decrease the risk of the atherosclerosis. Eighth one, one of the rare but serious side effects produced by the statins is A. Systemic lupus syndrome, B. Torsade de pointis, C. Rhabdomyolysis, D. Optic neuritis. So statins produce one of the side effects which is not commonly observed in all the people. But even it is a rare side effect, once it is going to be induced, it produces severe effects on the physiological system. So what is that side effect? The right answer is the rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis is the dissolution of the muscle fiber because of the action of the statins. Statins initially produce one of the condition myositis, the muscle inflammation. And this, if it is not controlled, it can lead to the severe condition rhabdomyolysis. So even this is a rare side effect produced by statins, but this is one of the important side effects that should be considered before the long-term treatment of the statins. And this side effect can also produce by the fibrates. So fibrates can also produce the myositis and increase the risk of the rhabdomyolysis. That's why fibrates should be carefully combined with the statins. Ninth one. Identify the drug from the following list that increase the uric acid excretion. A. Ezetimibe, B. Fenofibrate, C. Gemfibrozil, and D. Atorvastatin. So here which drug increase the uric acid excretion? The right answer is the fenofibrate. Fenofibrate is a fibrate which acts as uricosuric acid. Uricosuric means it increases the uric acid excretion. And since it is increase the uric acid excretion, this drug found useful in the treatment of hyperlipidemia associated with the gout. Gemfibrozil is the another fibrate, but it is not uricosuric. This uricosuric activity is only observed with the fenofibrate. 10th one. Which of the following drugs shows more interactions with the absorption of the lipophilic drugs? A. Niacin, B. Clofebrate, C. Ezetimibe, D. Colistipol. So here which drug shows more drug interactions at the absorption phase? So the right answer is the Colistipol. Colistipol and cholestyramine are the bile acid binding resins. They form complex with the bile acids. So they will inhibit the reabsorption of the drugs through the bile acids. For example, they can decrease the absorption of the inotropic agents like the digoxin and lipophilic vitamins like the vitamin A, D, E, K. On the other hand, ezetimibe is one of the drugs which specifically inhibits the cholesterol absorption by blocking one of the channel. Thereby, it is not showing any interaction with the absorption of other drugs. So bile acids are showing the more drug interactions compared with the ezetimibe. So that's for today. These are the 10 important questions from the anti-hyperlipidemics. In our next video, we will cover more number of important multiple choice questions from this topic. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends, post your comments in the comment box. Thank you for watching this video.